Hello everyone, this is B. Veeramat. Today I am going to discuss the last part of the semiconductor, that is optoelectronic devices. See, optoelectronic device definition like this: the semiconductor diodes or a PN junction diodes in which charge carriers are generated by a photons are called as optoelectronic devices. And there are some kinds of optoelectronic devices are given here, in which one is a photodiode, second one is light emitting diode, third one is a photovoltaic cell or solar cell, in which the first one is photodiode. Photodiodes are which detects the light signals. And fabrication and about the photodiode we'll discuss now. See, in the circuit connections for a photodiodes is like this. In a reverse bias, the current through the junction is due to actually that is due to minority charge carriers. So this is a reverse bias now, because p type is connected to negative battery and n type is connected to positive battery, hence it is reverse biased. First, photodiode means a photodiode is a reverse biased pn junction. See, actually photodiode means it is a reverse biased PN junction which is designed to respond to a light absorption. So how it made means which is designed to respond to a light absorption. Once the light is fall on the diode, that should respond. And that is what we can call it as a photodiode. Once again, I'm the definition I'm now explaining. A photodiode is a reverse biased PN junction which is designed to respond to a light absorption, and it is a reverse biased one. Just I told that. Here in the reverse bias, the current flows due to minority charge carriers. When the photodiode is keep under the dark condition, a sufficient reverse voltage is supplied. If we supplied a sufficient reverse voltage, see, it is in the dark condition and sufficient reverse voltage is supplied, and almost constant current and independent of the magnitude of a reverse bias is obtained. So as we increases, there is a constant current. If we increase the voltage, we will get the constant current, because the flow of current is independent of this voltage. That's why that gives a constant current in dark condition. That is due to thermal energy. And so that is called, that current we can call it as a dark current. Suppose such a PN junction diode illuminated with the light photons having energy which is greater than the energy gap. See, if we place this to the, if we expose it to the light, and that light energy is greater than the energy gap, then the photon will excite an electron. So those photons fall on the diode, and which excites an electron from the valence band to a conduction band. And an electron hole pair is generated. The electron hole pair generated in the depletion layer or near the junction will be separated by a junction potential difference and made to flow across the junction. As a result, there will be an increase in the reverse saturation current. See, just I told that in the dark condition there is a constant flow of current across the junction. But if it is exposed to a light, the light energy greater than band gap, nothing but those lights once which is fall on the diode, there is a electron hole pairs are created, and those electron hole pair is separated by the junction, and the electron flow takes place. the electron towards this side and hole towards this side takes place, and that is what we can call it as conduction process. Those electrons are excited from the valence band to conduction band. That is what we can call it as conduction, and that is called as a that current we can call it as a saturation current. The reverse saturation current increases with increase in the intensity of light incident on the photon. That saturation current increases with increase in the intensity of light. If light intensity fall on the object or a diode is increases, then obviously saturation current also increases. See, there are some uses are there. The photodiodes used in many applications. First one is in a consumer items such as a camera light meters and clock radios. In the camera light meter, clock radios, this photodiode is used. One thing. Second one is in the receivers of remote controls. In the television remote, which is used as a receivers. In the music system, DVD players, like that there are many systems are there, and with having a remote control. To the remote control, this diode is works like a receiver. Third one, for accurate measurement of light intensity in the science and industries, they actually generally have a better and more linear response than photoconductors. For exact measurement of light intensity in the science and industries, this photodiode is using to measure extremely low intensities, which is avalanche photodiodes ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ, or multiplier tubes are used for the applications in the astronomy or astroscopy, night vision equipments, the laser range finding. In such a devices this is used, and this is also used in pin diodes, used as a pin diodes, pin, nothing but positive intrinsic negative diode. A photodiode with a large neutrally doped intrinsic region sandwiched between p doped and n doped. See, pin means one side is positively doped one, another side is negatively doped one. Between these two, neutrally doped intrinsic region is there, which is sandwiched between the p type and n type doped, are much faster and more sensitive than the ordinary p-n junction diode, and hence are often used for communication purpose. And this is the use of the photodiodes. Next concept is about LEDs, light emitting diode. A light emitting diode is a specially made forward biased p-n junction diode. It is specially made forward biased p-n junction diode which emits a visible light when energized. See, LED nothing but this is a forward biased diode. Once these diode get energized, which emits the visible light, that is called as emitting diode or LEDs. See, the color of light emitting, which is depend on the semiconductor material used. Which material used, on the basis of the material used, the light emitting of the light is depend. The conversion process is fairly efficient in that generates little heat compared to incandescent lamp. And like a normal diode, LED consists of a chip of semiconducting material doped with the impurities to create a p-n junction, and the charge carriers are created by a electric current passing through the junction. By passing when we connect this to current or electric current, the charge carriers are created. When the diode is forward biased, electrons are sent from N to P sides, while holes are sent from P side to N side at the junction boundary. The concentration of the minority carriers increases. Then these majority charge carriers, in minority carriers, these minority charge carriers recombines with the majority charge carriers near the junction. See what happens here near the junction, PN junction, minority charge carriers which are recombined with the majority charge carriers. As a result, energy is released in the form of photons. The photon with equal energy or slightly less than band gap are emitted. Those emitted photons having equal energy to the band gap or which is bit less than the band gap. When the forward current of the diode is small, the intensity of light emitted is small. When the as forward current increases, its intensity of the light emitting that is also increases, and that reaches the maximum value. IV characteristics of LED is similar to that of the silicon or germanium junction diode, but the threshold voltage are much higher. The reverse breakdown voltage of LEDs are very low. It's about 5 volt. The wavelength of light emitted and therefore its color depends on the energy gap of the materials forming the PN junction. The diode typically made of silicon, germanium or etc. Which emits visible far infrared radiations. But the material used for LEDs have band gap energies corresponding to the visible light. So visible LEDs are available for variety colors. See, and examples. The LEDs are commonly used as information indicators in various types of embedded systems, such as one in which first one is the message displays at the airports and railway stations. Then second one is on off lights on professional instruments and consumer audio video equipments. And infrared LEDs are used in remote control for TVs, VCRs, CVDs like that. The clusters of LEDs are used in the traffic signals, replacing ordinary bulbs. Then LEDs are used in calculator, measurement instruments, or displays like 7-segment displays. So in variety of cases, in various cases, the LEDs are used. And the advantages of the LEDs as compared to the incandescent bulbs. So advantage of the users using LEDs, in which first one is the low operating voltage and current. Second one, the fast on off switching ability. Third one is the fast action and no warm up time. Fourth one, light emitting diodes. The light emitted is a nearly monochromatic light. And next one is a long life, ruggedness. The last one is which gives a less heat and are less delicate. See, these are the some advantages of the LEDs. Next one is photovoltaic cell or solar cell. See, a solar cell is basically a PN junction diode which generates EMF when solar radiation fall on the PN junction. See, which is represented here. It is a solar panel. According to definition that says a solar cell is basically PN junction diode. See, it is a PN junction diode, P and N junction diode which generates EMF once the radiation fall on the PN junction. See, once radiations fall on the PN junction, which generates the voltage or EMF. Thus, it is a device which converts a solar. You can define like this. This solar cell or photovoltaic cell can be also defined like this. It is a device which converts a solar energy into electrical energy, and it works on the same principle as that of the photodiode, but no external bias is applied, and the junction area is kept much larger for a solar radiation to be incident. So in the last class we studied that, see here, this is a PN junction diode, but to this there is one external connection is there in the photodiode case. But now in the photovoltaic cell or solar cell, here there is no additional external connection. There is no additional connection here. So only once the solar radiations fall on the diode, which converts the solar energy into electrical energy. When a light of suitable frequency is incident on the open circuit of solar cell, an EMF is produced across its terminals. That is photovoltaic effect. That effect we can call it as photovoltaic effect. The photodiode is also based on the photovoltaic effect. Okay. Then either P or N region. See, either P or N. This is N region and this is P region. Either P or N region is made very thin. Any one. If N is here in the example or in the given diagram, N is thin region, P is larger. But you can take it as a P also thin region. Either P or N region is made very thin, so that light energy is not greatly absorbed before reaching the junction. So these radiations should travel towards the junction. If we made a larger region, then without reaches the junction, those energies are absorbed by the N side. That's why P or N region made very thin, so that light energy is not greatly absorbed before reaching the junction. The thin region is called as emitter. See, the thin region is called as emitter, and another region is called as base. See, a given diagram shows a simple PN junction solar cell, a 0.3 micro mm of thin layer. First one, a 0.3 micrometer thin layer of N-side silicon grown on one side, and 300 mm micrometer. First N, this side is 0.3 micrometer and this side is 300 micrometer thick P side. The other side of the P side is coated with the metal. This side is coated with the metal. Last side, this side is coated with the metal, known as a back contact, which is also called as back contact. See, this is represented here. On the top of the N's layer, the metallic electrode or metallic grid is deposited. So you already seen in the case of solar cell, at the top of the roof there is a solar panel is there. On the solar panel there is a metal grids are there. So as like that, this acts as a front contact. The metallic grid occupies only a very small fraction of the cell area, so that light can be incident on the cell from the top. So procedure is as follows, like here. When the light fall on the solar cell, the EMF is generated due to following three steps. There are three basic steps are here. You should remember this. First one is generation. When a light of certain frequency here, h nu, when a light of energy falls at the junction, the electron hole pairs are generated near the junction. Near the junction, there are electron hole pairs are generated. Near that is called as generation step. Second step is separation. Due to electric field of the depletion region, these electrons are swept out n side and holes are to the p sides. See, so these electron hole pairs again separated that thing, but electron are swept to n side and holes are swept to p side. Finally, collection step. Last step is collection. These electrons are reaching the n side are collected to front contact and holes are reaching the p sides are collected to back contact. Thus, p sides becomes a positive and n sides becomes rise to a photovoltaic negative. P sides becomes positive and n sides becomes negative, and this gives the photo voltage. One side positive, one side negative means definitely there is a positive negative potential is there. Then potential difference between positive and negative electrode we can call it as EMF or voltage. So this is the three-step procedure: generation, separation, and collection. When an external load RL is connected to a solar cell, then the current flows through a load. Then IV characters that represent somewhat a curve that is represented in the fourth quadrant. Okay. The important criteria for selection of material. What type of material to select for the solar cell fabrication? So that we'll discuss here. The important criteria for selection of a material for a solar cell fabrications are: first one is the band gap. The band gap of 1.0 to 1.5 electron volt. The band gap of the material for the fabrication of solar cell, that is should be 1 to 1.5 electron volt. That should be within the 1 to 1.5 electron volt. The second one is high optical absorption. The material should absorb the light. That's why that requires high optical absorption. That is second one. The third one is electrical conductivity. The material should have electrical conductivity. And fourth point is availability of the raw material. So raw material should be more available. The fifth one is its cost. So low cost. Any radiation with a photon energy is greater than the band gap can generate EMF in the solar cell. The intensity of the solar radiation is maximum near 1.5 electron volt. That's why we took the band gap between 1 to 1.5. See, why can we take a band gap material of the band gap of 1 to 1.5 electron volt means because the intensity of solar radiation is maximum near the 1.5 electron volt band gap. For a better solar conversion efficiency, we use semiconductors with a band gap 1.5 electron volt or less. Example, silicon. Silicon has band gap 1.5 electron volt, 1.1 electron volt, while gallium arsenic has a band gap 1.53 electron volt, like that. In spite of higher band gap, so we can use gallium arsenide is better than silicon because it's higher absorption efficiency. if the band gap is too less, what happens? If it is very much less than 1, or it's again less, in such a condition, the most of the solar radiation will be absorbed at the top of the layer and will not reach the junction to produce a photovoltaic effect. So solar cell are used where we can use these solar cells applications to power electronic devices, in artificial satellites, space vehicles, wherever you can go in the space, we are using these photo electronic devices. And to supply power to some calculators, supply powers to homes in remote places, and many uses. Solar water heater. Thank you.